Chuka adjusted his tie one last time in the mirror of his modest two-bedroom flat before grabbing his laptop bag and stepping out. It was 6:15 a.m., and the usual Lagos hustle was already buzzing outside. Danfo conductors shouted destinations, hawkers waved sachet water through the windows of vehicles, and traffic slowly thickened, like always. But for Chuka, it was another day to build the life he had promised his family. He had come a long way from the narrow compound in Ajegunle where he grew up with his parents and 3 younger siblings. His father, a retired civil servant with a weak heart, and his mother, a market trader, had done their best. But it was never enough. Chuka was the first to go to university, the first to serve in NYSC, and now, the first to land a job that paid 6 figures. When he was offered a position at a thriving tech startup in Lekki as a junior software engineer, he didn't hesitate. It felt like destiny. From his very first paycheck, he had sent a portion home. At first, his parents had protested, at least his father did. "Take care of yourself first," the older man had said over the phone, his voice crackling with static. But his mother had been different. "God bless you, my son," she said. "Your siblings are still looking up to you. Don't forget us." And Chuka never did. Every month, he sent money. He paid his younger brother's private university tuition without being asked. He cleared his father's hospital bill after a minor stroke. When his cousin Nedu lost his job, Chuka pulled some strings at his office to get him a contract role in IT support. That job barely lasted 6 months. But Nedu never missed a request for urgent 50. 0 every other week. He denied himself luxury. While his colleagues moved to posh serviced apartments in Ikoyi or Victoria Island, Chuka remained in a modest, self-contained apartment in Yaba. His salary could afford him more, but every time he thought about upgrading, his mother's voice echoed in his mind. "Chuka, please, Emeka needs new textbooks. Your sister's rent is expiring. We need to buy a generator at home." It never ended. His girlfriend, Ifunanya, tried to be understanding. They had met during NYSC in Ogun State, where she had admired his ambition and humility. But after 2 years, the relationship began to wear thin under the weight of financial responsibility. She wanted more attention, more outings, more time. "Every month it's one family problem or the other," she once said during an argument. "When will you invest in yourself or in us?" Chuka didn't respond. He just stared at her, then at his bank alert. His account balance was a 32, 102 days after payday. Eventually, Ifunanya left. She didn't cheat. She didn't insult him. She just packed her things and said, "I love you, but I can't live like this. You're killing yourself for people who see you as a wallet." He couldn't even argue. He knew she was right, but it was hard to stop. One Friday morning, Chuka received a message from his cousin Ndidi. "Bro, beg. I need urgent 15 to sort out my hostel fees. I day stranded for school." He sighed. It was the 5th time she was claiming to be stranded that semester. He had sent her Kon 100K 3 weeks ago. No accountability, no gratitude, just more demands. Still, he transferred Tank and replied, "This is all I can afford for now." No response. That night, he scrolled through Instagram and saw her post a boomerang video with the caption, "Turn up time," in what looked like a club. He felt his stomach tighten. This was the girl who had told him just hours ago that she was stranded. He tossed his phone aside. Then came the real blow. He lost his job. It wasn't his fault. The startup was restructuring after a failed funding round. Several people were laid off. His manager called him into the small conference room and said, "Chuka, this is hard for me. You're brilliant, but we have to let you go." He left the building in silence. He couldn't breathe as he rode home that day. He knew what was waiting. Rent, bills, his mother's regular call on the 25th of each month, his younger brother's final year clearance. He didn't tell anyone. Instead, he crafted a fake narrative. "I'm working from home now," he told them. "It's remote, flexible." He sold his car to clear some debts and survived the first 3 months. He took up freelance gigs on Upwork and Fiverr. He started coding websites for small businesses in Lagos for as low as 30. Some months, he barely made enough to cover food, but his family didn't know. They kept asking. His mother would call at midnight whispering so his father wouldn't hear. "Chuka, I know things are tight, But your sister's WAEC lesson has started. His siblings were the worst. His younger brother Uche once texted, "Abeg, I need 7 tick to change my phone. Mine is hanging." When Chuka said he didn't have it, Uche replied, but you dey work nah. Are you just stingy now?" He stared at the message for a long time, then deleted the chat. Then December came. He dreaded Christmas that year. Every year, it had been tradition. He would send 200K home to cover rice, drinks, chicken, and whatever else was needed for the family to celebrate. Sometimes, he even added new clothes for the younger ones. But this time, he barely had a 50 saved up. He didn't even know how he would pay January rent, so he sent Utherdick and called his mother. "Mama, I'm really sorry. Things have been hard." That's all I could gather. There was silence. Then she said, "So what are we supposed to do with Athertik, Chuka? We're not beggars. People in this estate will mock us." He didn't know what to say. On Christmas morning, he called again to greet the family. No one answered. He sent a "Merry Christmas" message in the family group chat. No replies. Later that day, he checked WhatsApp status updates. His sister had posted pictures in matching family Ankara. His brother was dancing to loud music. His cousin Nedu posted, "Family time with the best people on earth." He hadn't even been invited. It wasn't just exclusion, it was erasure. They didn't want him around if he had nothing to offer. He sat alone in his dark room, lit only by the screen of his laptop, and let the silence press in on him. No jollof rice aroma, no laughter, no calls, just the dull hum of his fan and the ache in his chest. That night, he stared at his bank app, saw the Nate, 400 balance, and whispered to himself, "After everything I did." It was the first time he ever felt truly alone, and for the first time, he started to question whether family love was conditional, tied to how much you could provide. He had always believed that love and loyalty went both ways. But maybe, just maybe, that wasn't true. Chuka sat on the edge of his thin mattress, staring at the cracked wall of his one-room apartment in Egg Edge. The walls were stained with patches of damp, and the air always smelled of musty cement, no matter how many times he cleaned. He had moved in 2 months ago after exhausting every option. His previous apartment in Yaba had been decent, but the rent had swallowed the last of his savings. This place was all he could afford now. One window, a single fan, no wardrobe, just a line of hooks nailed to the wall. He had gone from a rising tech star in Lekki to living in a space that barely allowed him to stretch. He didn't complain. Not out loud. Not to anyone. But deep inside, something was cracking. Even in this state, he hadn't stopped helping. The instinct to provide was built into him. He still sent 5-0 here and there when he could. He still listened when his mother called to rant about electricity bills and the rising cost of foodstuff. He still gave his younger brother Uche advice about his project defense and helped his cousin draft a CV for an internship. He couldn't say no, even when it hurt. Then one Saturday evening, something inside him finally snapped. He had returned from a tedious job interview that didn't go well. His shirt was damp with sweat, and his legs ached from jumping buses in traffic. As he approached the door to his room in the compound, he heard laughter from the other side. Uche was inside, visiting from school. Chuka had given him transport money just 2 days ago. He paused, hand on the door, when he heard Uche say loudly on a phone call, "Chuka way de form big boy that year, don de beg for atwork now. I swear, this life humbles everybody. Go, man don't fall finish." The person on the other end laughed. Uche laughed louder. Chuka stood there, breath frozen. He didn't enter. He just turned around and walked until his legs couldn't move. He ended up on a wooden bench outside a closed shop, sitting in the dark, heart pounding. It was never about the money. It was about the disrespect, the mockery, from someone he had raised like a son. That night, he didn't speak to Uche. When the boy left the next morning, Chuka only nodded. He didn't confront him. What was the point? Later that week, he called his mother. He didn't know why. Maybe he hoped for comfort, some sense that someone still cared. "Mama, I'm really struggling," he said, voice low. "Everything is falling apart. I just needed to hear your voice." There was a pause. Then she sighed. "Chuka, you're the man of this house. You can't afford to be weak. If you don't send money this week, your brother might miss his exams." He didn't respond. Are you even listening? She snapped. You think because you're going through small challenge now, the whole world should stop? He ended the call quietly. The next day, he opened Instagram. His sister had posted pictures from Dubai. Her caption read, "Living my best life, grateful for everything." He stared at it, blinking. He remembered when she was applying for her visa. She had called him endlessly until he paid $350 to sort her documents. Now she was in another country, posting selfies and thanking the universe. No thanks. No check-in. Nothing. That week he ran out of food. He hadn't eaten in 2 days and felt his body weakening. Desperate, he sent a message to the family group chat. Hey everyone. I hate to ask, but I really need help. Just a tank to get through the week. Please. The message was delivered. Read. No response. He sent individual messages to 4 people: his brother, his sister, and 2 cousins. One cousin replied after 2 hours. Guy, a beg make you day manage. You no go fit day live like before. Cut your coat according to your size. This was the same cousin he had bailed out of loan 120 debt 2 years ago. The same person who once cried on the phone, promising to pay back in installments. That money never came back. Chuka deleted the messages, blocked the cousin, turned off his phone. He lay on the floor, not even on the mattress. Just the bare, cool tile. The truth settled into him like cold water. They didn't care. Not really. They only loved him when he was useful, when he was giving, when he was the one fixing their problems. Now that he was the one in need, they had vanished like smoke. He laughed bitterly. It was never love. It was convenience. Chuka stopped answering calls. He deleted WhatsApp, logged out of Instagram, and shut down his Facebook account. No more family updates, no more distractions. Just silence. For the first time in years, he wasn't giving pieces of himself to anyone. He stayed indoors most days, surviving on Indomie, bread, and water. There were nights he cried quietly into his pillow, questioning everything: his choices, his purpose, his worth. But through the pain, something inside him began to stir. A resolve. He dusted off his old laptop and started writing code again. No clients, no gigs, just ideas. He sketched out concepts in notebooks, watched free programming videos on YouTube, and read articles on startups, growth, and lean development. Slowly, piece by piece, he started building a mobile application designed to solve a specific pain point in small business inventory management, something he had once seen his mother struggle with at her stall years ago. He called it Track It. At first, it was just a basic prototype. Buggy, clunky, but he didn't stop. He kept refining, learning, and adjusting. When he couldn't afford data, he walked to a nearby cafe and used their free Wi-Fi. He pitched the app on every platform he could find. No one replied for months. Then one evening, an email came in from a tech incubator in Estonia. They had seen his pitch on a startup forum and wanted to know more. He replied with shaky fingers. Within a week, they had scheduled a Zoom call. 2 months later, he received his first seed funding, 25-0. He almost didn't believe it was real. With the funding came credibility. Other investors noticed. Local partners reached out. He registered his business properly, built a small remote team, and began rolling out the product. Within 6 months, Track It had 20-0 downloads across Nigeria and Kenya. Small shop owners were praising the app online. Tech blogs picked up his story. Interviews followed. His face started showing up on panels and startup newsletters. And then came the texts. Chuka, we're proud of you, his sister wrote. I know we messed up. Please forgive me. His brother sent a voice note, voice shaky. Bro, I didn't know you were going through all that. I feel terrible. Let's talk. Even his mother called, sobbing into the phone. I'm so sorry, my son. I was wrong. Please come home. The family needs you. But Chuka didn't rush back. He had healed too much to be pulled back into the same cycle. He replied with grace. No insults, no guilt-tripping, just clarity. I forgive you, but I've changed. I'm not the same person anymore. He no longer felt responsible for fixing everyone's life. He had learned to choose peace, boundaries, and balance. And when a news site published a feature on his journey titled, From Breadwinner to CEO, How I Rebuilt My Life After Family Betrayal, it went viral. Thousands of people saw themselves in his story. But Chuka didn't do it for the world. He did it for the boy who once gave everything and finally learned to give something to himself.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more teachable and inspiring folk tales by Effie.